All right, so this is the swapping of 2 hour inserts. So right now, I already took the back off because that's a little bit of a hassle. But right now I'm gonna take this part out of the watch. Now this part is very tricky because it's very fragile because this is basically all the parts. Basically what I'm doing right now is I'm basically just trying to little piece out without breaking anything. Now this is very hard since there are very many, very tiny, like very tiny parts in this, and very fragile parts. Now, this is very tricky. So you basically want to get this to this point, then you want to come over here and you want to try to pop it out. Okay, now that you get the face out like this, you basically just want to set the whole case and everything aside. Now, I'm going to be doing here today is I'm going to be swapping the hour inserts, this little part right here, with this one. So, this was another custom I did. So, I'm going to pop the screws off of here. Now, this is where you have to be very careful since it can just, like, you have to be very careful. Just put it that way. So, now these will be sold in a store after I'm done manufacturing it. Like fixing it. So right now it is being very tricky. It's very tricky to do because it takes time and effort. Now, if it's done right, it could be very like helpful if it's done right. So I'm still working on first one. So basically I need to take out the screws again. Now you have to be very careful you don't break or strip a screw. So what I do is I apply pressure from the top and spin. So once you do that, you have basically, I forgot one, but you're gonna have to get all 4 screws out. So this takes a lot of work and research to find out how to do. I've been doing my research, I know how to do it. So boom, you take the back off like we did last time. Then you just set that to the side. Okay, now here's where it gets tricky. I need to get this part out of the watch again. So basically, the trick is you go to the top, so top's right here. Then you take a flathead and you just try to get it out very carefully. Now, or you go to the bottom and get it. I actually use the bottom the most. The bottom has these little holes that your screwdriver, it's meant for it. The screwdriver will just pop in there and get it out. Now time for switching the hour markers. Now I did this earlier today, so I know how to do it. Basically, you take this little piece, just try to get it in there. Or you could just do what I'm doing and be very careful and just get it off. Whoa. Okay, so this is very tricky. It's very difficult. So, see, I got this. Now, I'm going to take this and set it right here. The reason I'm doing this part, is because it'll match the orange band for this custom. Now, this is a very tricky and hard thing to do. You need to be able to physically, you need to be able to, put it together pretty easily. So now I'm going to set the 2 faces aside. Basically, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this part. I'm going to find top of the watch. I'm going to take this little part. Now, this little part has this part right here. It's thicker than the others. So you want to find it in here. You just want to place it. Now, it should fit nice and well. Now we're doing this. I'm going to take the camo face. I am going to set it back into the watch. Now, this is where it gets very tricky. Because you basically need, like, you need to be able to put the watches in without messing with any of the sensors. Now, this is where it gets tricky. Because if you mess with one of the sensors and it won't click anymore on the buttons, that could be bad. So now you basically want to get the back end first. So see that I got the back end now? So I'm going to take a little pressure, push the buttons in like they would anyway. So once you get that, you want to get all the ones that are not in. Boom. Boom. So now that I got that in, here I need to get back to screws. It's very important you keep the same stuff because it's usually like exact same. So I'm going to set the metal waterproof base thing right here. So now that that's there, I'm going to set the cover for the battery on here like this. Now you want the little slot to be facing upwards because that's where the battery lays. This is the battery. It's going to lay right on top of the little thing. Okay, now that we got this, here's where it's just basically smooth riding for the rest of this watch. You need to line the spots up. You need to grab the screws and you just basically need to put them in. Sure they line up right, because if they don't, it'll be unbalanced. Now this is very, 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 very tricky. Well, not really. You need to put pressure on the back and screw them down. So, yeah. Still screwing them down. You want to get them tight because remember, this is a waterproof watch. It should be tight. And it's a little bonus, I'll show you how to set the clasp. So, keep on going. Keep on screwing. So basically, I'm basically just screwing the rest of them in. Oh, screwing the rest of them in. They need to be pretty tight. I'm going to go over them again after. Once you get them pretty tight, you want to double check them for the other two. Now, I don't know what I'm going to do with this gray face. I might toss it on there because as I'm looking at it, it looks pretty dang sick. So, keep on going. Oh yeah, this is going to be sick. It looks really cool from my little peek at it. So, right now I'm basically just screwing the rest of them in. So, yeah. This is very fun to do, modding watches, but it's also very difficult and you have to have like a nice clean place where you can do it. Nice mat. Now, if you're going to do it, I recommend these mats because they are very easy. They don't anything roll around. I actually got mine from jewelry store. They line up nice. All together, screw down nice. Now, try not to ruin the reveal for you guys. I'm going to open the clasp like that. And I'm going to set it. So basically, whatever we'll do is we'll set it to whatever the thing is. I'll set it to my wrist size. Just for a little test to show you guys how to do it. And once you get it, you got to put it there. And just click down. Now, for the reveal, I'm going to do a little wrist roll here. So, 3, 2, 1. Oh, that's really cool. We did a good job with that. So, there's that one. Now, I got that part done. It looks really sick. Now, the next part is basically I'm going to have to put this face back into its shell. Now, this shell, there was a little problem with the band it came in. I don't want to say much more about it. So, I will not be putting a band on this one. Just for some reasons, so it might be a little bit quicker. So now you guys know how to set it. Now I'm gonna set it back in here. Now you want it to be flush. You want it to fit perfectly. So basically right now I'm going around and I'm just popping the parts in. So this is a tricky part because you need to be very, very careful. Like I showed you last time, it needs to all sit absolutely perfect. Yeah, so as I was saying, it needs to fit absolutely perfect. It needs to sit flush in there. It needs to sit nice. Now, the tricky part is you need to line it up pretty perfect. So that's what I'm gonna do now. Now, it is hard to line it up. And once you do line it up though, it's gonna look pretty sick. So now, it's probably the trickiest part is lining it up. Now, these watches are pretty cool for some reasons I'm gonna tell you about now. They're basically shock resistant, so you can drop them. I consider them to be the perfect everyday watch because they are basically indestructible. They're waterproof up to 665 feet and drop resistance up to 300 feet. So whatever you do to this watch in those ranges, basically all fun and games. I actually like these because they're very well built and nearly indestructible, as I said before. So that's why I like doing this, because it's like fun and it's like really cool because you get to like learn about watches and stuff. And I think that's just really cool how a watch works. These watches are also really cool because if you can't read the clock but you want a sick watch, it also has a digital display. So the digital display makes it a little bit easier. But they are really cool all around. Like, they're just well built. They're also made by Casio. They make some other stuff. They make more like dress watches. Now, G-Shock's just a line of Casio. Yeah, just a nice line of them. Now, I also make like other watches, like dress watches. They're really nice. They're like complicated. Well, they're simple. They're not really complicated. They're uncomplicated. They're very simple. They're just one design and a couple colors. These are more elaborate because these are like the summer watches. But the dress watches are probably my favorites. There's a lot of nice ones in there. So yeah, right now I'm just tightening down the screws. And then I'll be done switchovers. So there we go. There's the transition of the things. This was a really cool build for me. Really cool switching because I really got to see how the watch works. One of my first times doing this. So that's how it turned out. And thank you for watching.